Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, I'm David Osaime, and in today's video, we're looking at a book review. So this is a series I'm just starting. I get to review some of the books I've read, and most importantly, share with you some of the key things I learned from this book. So this is the first episode, and we are starting with a book on finance. So if you're looking at saving, you're looking at investing, building wealth, or even how to sustain wealth, then you need to watch this video till the end. All right, so I have my notepad here where I have things jotted. So I read this book back in 2022 and I still have my notepad with me. So you should probably get a book and a pen, and let's just get straight into the video. All right, so the title of the book is Richest Man in Babylon, and I'll be sharing with you the 5 laws of gold. Now, these were lessons taught to Arkad. So in case you're wondering who is Arkad, Arkad happens to be the richest man in Babylon according to the book, and these lessons were taught to him by his coach or mentor by the name Algamish. So of course, Algamish was also wealthy for him to be able to mentor Arkad to build wealth, amounting to be the richest man in Babylon. So these are the two main characters in the book. So in case I'm mentioning them, just get familiar with the names. So I'm sharing with you once again the 5 laws of gold, which helped Arkad to amount being the richest man in Babylon. So if you can implement these 5 lessons and know them to heart, trust me, you'll be able to build wealth as well. So now we have number 1, which says start thy purse to fattening. So when you're looking at what this first lesson is about, is all about savings. It's all about you knowing how to save, because I feel like this is the most important part of this lesson. I mean, it's my favorite actually. When you're looking at building wealth, you need to understand the culture of saving, and not just understanding it but making it an habit. So according to the book, Algamish taught Arkad to save 10% of everything he earns. So that's 1/10 of his income needs to be saved. That's the minimum. So you building wealth, you need to understand that you have to save. You need to save for raining days. You need to save for emergency. Even though if there might not be any reason, you just need to understand that there's a place of saving. Everything you earn, there is need to save. Another point from this first lesson is that all that you earn, of all you earn, 10% that you are saving is you paying yourself. So when you have this at the back of your mind, then you know what to do with the 10%, whether it's to invest or to keep it for some other important things. So just have it at the back of your mind that it's important that you always save and make it a culture to save as well. Now, the number 2 lesson is that make thy gold multiply. So when we are looking at this, then we are talking about investing. So of course, you are familiar with the first law, which is to always learn how to save. Now, the second is investing. You need to make your gold multiply. Now, Arkad taught Algamish right here. So I'll be reading to us straight from my notepad. It says, every piece of gold you earn is a slave to work for you. That's the first. Then the second is every copper it earns is its child that can also earn for you. So what's this lesson talking about? It says that of all that you save or all that you earn, you need to take out a part which you are investing. So it could be from the 10% you're saving, or it could be from the remaining 90% where you get to sort out basic needs or reinvesting back into your business. You need to have a code where you invest. So now what Algamish was talking about is that everything that you earn is a slave for you to produce. So it's like saying that what you earn is bringing forth a child. Then the child it brings, you are not to spend it. You are not to just consume it or lavish it. You need to reinvest it such that it brings forth a grandchild. So that is what this lesson is talking about. So from the grandchild, then you can now start sorting other needs, not for you to just spend a child of what your investment is bringing in. That is what the second lesson is talking about. And to further buttress, it says, if you become rich, then what you save must earn, and its children must earn as well, that all may help to give you the wealth you wanted. So that is the second law of gold. So the third law says, guard their treasure from loss. So when you're looking at this third law, then we're looking at beyond you saving, beyond you investing, you need to understand that what you have left needs to be guarded, because there are a lot of opportunities out there that seems to be legit, but trust me, they are only stuff that could just take out or take away all that you've saved, all that you've earned with your sweat and blood. Now, the third law is talking about you learning to budget. Now, I was mentioning earlier, now you have 10% which you are saving from all that is coming in. Then the 90%, you need to understand why budgeting is important. You need to understand that, okay, this is what I'm taking out to sort my basic necessities, to sort my family needs, or even reinvesting back into my business. So when you're looking at budgeting, then that is what the third law is all about. So you need to learn how to control your spending as well. So you have a particular amount, probably a fixed amount coming to you every week or every month. You need to budget it. You need to know what is right to spend and what is not to spend on. So that is what the third law is all about. So speaking more on the third law, I'll just take us back to a story in the book, right? So we have Arkad, of course. I already told you who Arkad was. So after the first year which Arkad had saved, so all that he saved in the first year, he thought of, oh, now I've amounted something for a whole year. How can I invest what I have saved so it could bring in returns for me? So it's part of the laws, right? So he had that. Of course, he learns them from his coach, which happens to be Algamish. So now what he did was, so he gathered all that he earned, all that he saved for the first year, and then he gave it to a carpenter. I mean, this someone into woodworks was traveling to the neighboring country. He gave all of his savings to this person to help him get gold in the neighboring country. So his initial plan was that you buy it, you help me purchase it at cheaper rate. Then when it gets down to the country, I sell them at higher rates. So that seems like a wise choice of investment. But the mistake he made was he didn't give all of his savings to someone into that business. So that was the mistake he made. How are you supposed to give your hard-earned money to someone into woodworks, to someone who is a carpenter, to help you purchase gold? Of course, he has no idea about what gold is all about. He has no idea of whether it is real gold or it's a fake gold. So that was the mistake Arkad made in his first year. And trust me, he lost everything he earned in his first year. So that's one of the mistakes you don't want to make in you knowing how to budget your earnings, in you knowing how to spend, knowing what to spend on and what not to spend on. All right, so the fourth law states that make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. Now, this is very simple and straightforward. After you might have saved, after you've invested and they are bringing in returns, of course, you already learned how to guard your treasures as well. You already know what's right to invest in and what not to invest in. The fourth law is talking about building a home for you and for your family to have an abode. So that's what the first law is. The fourth law is literally talking about. So it's about real estate. Knowing and understanding and the place of real estate in building wealth is very, very vital. So I'll be taking us back to a story in the book as well. Now, this was the second year, after Arkad had lost all he saved in the first year. Now, the second year, after he gathered all he had saved, he made the right choice of investment this time around. So let me explain to us. So now, this time around, he was going to give his money to a goldsmith. Now, this is someone who creates armors, who creates war tools out of metals. So he gave his money to this person. Of course, the person was traveling to a neighboring country as well to help him purchase gold at cheaper prices than when it gets to his country, was going to sell them at higher price. So that's the right choice of investment. So he employed the attention, he employed the expertise of someone who knows about metals, who knows about gold. So this goldsmith traveled to the neighboring country, purchased the gold, and brought it down to Arkad, and he was able to make profits from selling the gold in his own country. So this is what we're talking about. This is you investing in right choices. All right, so the fifth law, which would be my second favorite, is ensure a future income. So when you're talking about ensuring a future income, you are looking at what can you invest in that will end up bringing in returns over the years. So you're looking at learning a craft, you're looking at learning a skills, you are looking at automation. I mean, this is the 24th century and we have the internet right there. What are you learning that is tech wise? What are you learning that is digital wise? So that's what the fifth law is all about. We are looking at automation, we are looking at passive income. So I think my favorite part of the fifth law is you learning a skill, learning a craft, learning something that is of value, of course, which will end up putting you at the place of values, end up putting you at the place of need because now you have something of value to offer, then people will always come to you, and such skill will definitely keep giving you a source of income. We're also looking at you having streams of income, multiple streams of income. That's what the fifth law is talking about. All right, guys. So that's the five laws of good, which were taught to Arkad by his wealth coach, Algamish. So now I'll just take a brief on some of the things I feel it's important to be shared. Now, the first will be that you need to have a mentor. Same way Arkad is to Algamish. Algamish was a follower, while Arkad happens to be his mentor. So you need to learn from someone. You need to have someone holding you by the ends. That's the case of Arkad and Algamish. So have that at the back of your mind. If you want something, you need to go for it. And trust me, you get them in the place of service. So you need to learn to be a follower. That's the first. And the second, which I would love to read out, is go slips away from a person who invests in businesses or purposes which is not familiar with or not approved by the people whom are skilled in such expertise. So this is very important as well. So you want to take advice of people that are ahead. You want to make sure to always ask questions. You are starting a new business, you are looking at going into a new field, a profession. Always make sure to ask questions before you delve into whatever it is, so you don't end up failing. I mean, these are people with wealth of experiences, so they can always teach you, they can always guide you the right path. All right, so the last thing I would love to mention is the fact that, while this seems to be simple, trust me, it takes perseverance. In building wealth, in sustaining it, most importantly, it requires perseverance. There are cases where it might be challenging, there are cases where it might be hard, but you're not giving up. That's the drive, that's the zeal, right? You're not giving up, and whatever challenge it might be that you be facing, trust me, you can always overcome them. So have this at the back of your mind, and that's all on the book Richest Man in Babylon. So you might want to check out the book as well to further understand most of the stories, to understand more of the points in the book which I'm unable to mention. All right, guys, so we've come to the end of this video. If you found this video helpful, make sure to click on the like button. It helps with the algorithm so others can get to see this video. And if there's any question or addition, kindly drop in the comment box. I reply to all comments. So lastly is to subscribe. That will help, that will support me. It helps, motivates me to create more videos. So make sure you like, comment, and don't forget to click on the subscribe button as well. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.